Good afternoon. I'm John Capone, Dean of Science, and I am truly delighted to be here, and I want to thank you all for being here, not only for organizing this fantastic symposium, but actually for taking a chance on what was and still is a radically new and innovative program. And I thought maybe I'd just give a few thoughts on how this program started, where we are, and where we want to go. But first of all, to reiterate my thanks to you for taking a chance on this. Actually, mostly your parents, who probably thought you're doing one. But when I became dean a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I can't even remember. I came into a faculty that was sort of structured in a very traditional way, as most faculty of science across Canada have been, in departments that had programs, that ran their own programs and research, and sort of in silos, as opposed to what I thought, and a lot of other people thought, science needed to go, which was towards a more multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary focus and thrust. So one of the two reasons why this program came to be was a strong desire to embrace multidisciplinarity, and also to expose students at the earliest possible time to the process of discovery and research, which often doesn't come until later on in an undergraduate program. And so those were the two ideas that were sort of thrust out there. The issue was actually, what does that mean? Can we do it, and how can we do it? So in the first year or two was a lot of convincing people that this was a process that should be undertaken. Identifying people that would be able to plan for this, and mostly then convincing people to, and delivering resources to begin to implement it. So in the first year or so, we put together teams that were just there to conceptualize. That is, why do we want this? Why should we move towards this direction? What does it mean to everything else we're doing? So there were a couple of really innovative and radical processes here. One was that it was going to be a program that was not departmental based. So for those of you who have any exposure to administrative issues within universities, departments are usually the resource centers for programs and for everything else you're doing here. So this was something that was taken out of departments and run across the faculty. Secondly was to develop curriculum and content that was significant, rigorous, and would satisfy the disciplines that we're feeding into this program. And so with those type of parameters in mind, a team that included Carolyn Eyles at the beginning frameworked this program and began to conceptualize on how to run it, what we were expecting from it, and what the outcomes could be. And once that was in place, there was an operational team that was headed by Carolyn Eyles, as well as a number of other people that sort of embraced this new way of thinking, as well as those that were quite skeptical that we can never pull it off. So it was important for me to ensure that all these viewpoints came together into a program that people really embraced and bought into. And the idea to me was that it would be a smallish program that would attract very energetic, committed, high-performance individuals that had a real passion for science, and that we would expose them to an educational program that embraced all the disciplines in an integrated fashion that would really provide a different platform for education and for study in a team environment that would also link in very closely with the instructors, who also would be functioning as a team. And also overriding all of this is embedding in them thinking skills and critical skills for knowledge creation and relevance. One of the key things early on, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, was the thought of bringing in the library early on into this process. And Jeff Tresiak's in the back there, who's the chief librarian, certainly was one of the champions of this program in the beginning and did a lot to help. In fact, the home base for iSci is in the library at Thoth, and that would not have happened without Jeff's championing the cause, and also diverting, not diverting, but linking library resources to the program, the iSci program, including science fluencies, librarian, but also with the view that communication of science, understanding science, is intimately linked to institutions like the library, and there was an opportunity there to integrate fully then knowledge, searching for information, critical analysis of that information, and then using for problems that we're facing. So that being said, this is now our 3rd year, so next year is our first graduating class. We have tremendous students here. It's probably one of the strongest programs now in Canada, I believe. And it is something that is being used as a model in different places. The big difference with our program, of course, it's a full 4-year integrated program. A lot of the ideas at the beginning were not exactly new. People were talking about it all the time. The issue was how do you actually put it together for something that's functional. And so many universities had little pockets of interdisciplinary study and group learning, but none had a program that went from year 1 to year 4 in the manner that we do. So it's certainly being used as a template for many other places across Canada and beyond Canada. So we're fortunate in many ways. One is that none of this really would have happened without exceptional people backing this up and having a passion for it. Carolyn among the top of them. The iSci team is exceptional. There's an unbelievable degree of enthusiasm, not only the instructors themselves and the students, but also among the instructors themselves, because iSci is a learning experience, not only for the students, but for us. That is, how do you actually marshal teaching and educational resources in this environment, in our current structure, towards this goal. So I'm very gratified. Actually, it's exceeded all expectations that I had at the beginning. And it's embedded in the faculty as a flagship program for sure. We are doing things that can be replicated in many other programs across this university, whether it's course mapping, whether it's teamwork, whether it's student-led initiatives. And I think we are so far ahead of the curve here that I think the future just is an amazing thing to look forward to. And so this synthesis event here is just an example where students take the initiative, get the groups together, organize something that is unique and innovative, and I think we're looking back in awe that we've actually uncapped this type of potential in young people, and hopefully, certainly the program is designed for students to do whatever they want. Every walk of life will be open to them, but also to capture those students who are going to be our future scientific leaders, and they're going to come into that with a background like no one else has. So again, thank you very much to the iSci team, the administrators, but mostly to the students, and I wish you all the best in this symposium and in the year ahead. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. I think you made us all feel very proud to be in the program. And as has become customary in iSci, we like to present our invited speakers with a one-of-a-kind iSci waterfall. On behalf of the entire program, I'd like to extend our thanks to you taking the time to be here today. So thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So finally, we're just going to briefly give a review of the events that are happening over the next 2 weeks. We have an exciting assortment of workshops, guest lectures, and student presentations planned. Specific locations and times can be found on the Synthesis website. First of all, guest lectures. So Wednesday the 28th at 1:30, Dr. Miroslav Lavric, an associate professor in McMaster's Mathematics Department, who also currently teaches first-year iSci Math, will give a lecture on interdisciplinary modeling of scientific problems. As anyone who has been taught by him will know, it will most likely involve fantastic stories about cats.
And later on in the week, on March 29th at 12:30, we're going to have PhD candidate Ian Burgess from Harvard University, who is actually a recent recipient of the WIS Technology Development Fellowship, which is a very prestigious award. And we had him talk to level 2s this year during our thermodynamics module, and we're very excited to have him back. And his talk will be titled Innovation in the Cracks Between Disciplines, the Journey from Undergraduate Education to interdisciplinary research. So I think that'll be very exciting.
Next, on Tuesday, April 3rd at 9:30, we will have Dr. Ralph Kudritz from the Origins Institute and the Department of Physics and Astronomy. His research focuses on star and planet formation, and he will be talking about interdisciplinary scientific research directed at understanding the origin of life and the structure of the universe.
And our final speaker in our speaker series will be on April 3rd at 5:30, and it will be Dr. Nick Eyles. He is a professor of geology at the University of Toronto, and you also might know him as the host of Geologic Journey, which was a 5-part series in the nature of things with David Suzuki on CBC. And yeah, so like I said, that will be on April 3rd.
So that's the last of the guest lectures. As iSci students, we've also worked very hard on a variety of projects, and several of us will present our findings in 3 separate presentation sessions. At each session, visitors will get to vote on awards which will be presented at the closing ceremonies on April 4th at 5:30. There will be 2 oral presentation sessions, one on Wednesday, March 28th at 3:30, and another on Monday, April 2nd at 1:30. We also have one poster session on Wednesday, April 4th at 12:30.
And at this point in time, I'd like to direct your attention to the back of the room where we have set up some refreshments, and our very own Kristen Daou has set up a presentation of a lot of students in iSci, their work throughout the year. So just before we're dismissed to that, I'd like to give one last thanks to Dr. Carolyn Eyles and Dean Capone for their talks. One last thing before you leave, please put your name tags back on the table where you got them. Thank you.